Haiti is burning. For weeks, thousands of angry protesters have been marching through the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince, demanding that President Jovenel Moïse step down.
Démocratie, coup d'État, moi pas besoin. Démocratie, kidnapping, non pas besoin. Démocratie, en vérité, faut venir jouer Haïti.
The president's term officially ended on February 7th, but Moïse wants to govern for another 12 months because he took office a year after he was voted in. Now, these protesters are demanding new elections. Opponents say the president is stalling so he can grab more power. But he has the backing of the US and Haiti's police force.
This is obviously from some kind of rubber bullet or tear gas canister that's hit this man. But yesterday, President Moïse said that the country can get back to normal. All is calm, business as usual. This doesn't look like business as usual.
Jovenel Moïse was elected in 2016, promising to end Haiti's cycle of violence and corruption. But things have only gotten worse. Murders are on the rise. Kidnappings surged by 200% last year, forcing many schools to close. Civil rights groups say many of the gangs responsible have links to Moïse's government. The president denies this. Security forces and unidentified gunmen have been using deadly force to halt demonstrations.
So protesters were pushed back from the outskirts of the city. They've now descended back towards the presidential palace. Police have lined up and they're firing tear gas at the protesters scattered along this park right here. Everyone's trying to take cover.
In the last 2 years alone, more than 180 people have been killed during protests against the president. And while we were at the demonstration, we heard about yet another victim. So right now we're about to meet up with the family of Ronald Dufresne. He's a motorbike taxi driver who was gunned down at the most recent government protest. You know, one of the things that we've been hearing from people that we've been talking to is that they're fed up with the gang violence and the kidnappings in Haiti. And this family is just another victim of that. Dufresne was shot and his body was set on fire while he was riding his mototaxi through a protest. Even here, where death and violence are a part of daily life, his killing shocked many Haitians. So far, no one has been charged for the murder.
He's a simple man. He's not a kind of guy would like that to go in a protest, in a demonstration.
How do you feel about what's happening in Haiti now?
I'm scared sometimes to go out to see my friends. I'm scared because the situation, people demonstration, I'm afraid they kidnap too. We want to the government respect the law.
Do you think that your brother will ever see justice?
No, I don't think that because we don't have justice in Haiti for the time being.
Now all the family wants is to bury Dufresne's body. They have no idea where the authorities have taken him or how they're going to pay for his funeral. Dufresne is the latest victim in Haiti's long history of political violence. People here have been demonstrating against it for years.
These protest routes are often so massive. There's different groups of protesters that come from different parts of Port-au-Prince, and they're meeting here at Resistance Square.
Neighborhoods in Port-au-Prince are ruled by competing gangs who either support or oppose the government. The most notorious of these gangs is G9, which has alleged links to Moïse's administration. In November 2018, they stormed the opposition-held neighborhood of La Saline, killing more than 70 people during a 14-hour rampage. The U.S. sanctioned 2 members of Moïse's administration for planning the massacre and supplying G9 with the weapons to carry it out. They deny any wrongdoing. David Oxygen is a political activist. He believes the president is using the gangs to silence his opponents.
Avec Jovenel Moïse, il y a milices qui inscrivent dans des groupes armés, groupes gangs, qui fédérés dans la question Genève, dans tout quartier populaire pour attaquer nous. C'est massacre qu'a fait la Saline, c'est massacre qu'a fait Grand Ravine, c'est massacre qu'a fait Cité Soleil, c'est massacre qu'a fait l'Enfant National.
It's clear that there are thousands of Haitians who, like you, are willing to go out on the front line of this protest and display your anger. But there's another section of the population that is terrified of what's going on the streets of Port-au-Prince. Is there another way to get what you want without resorting to violence?
Mais les masses populaires ont utilisé manifestation, Jovenel Moïse attaqué, c'est gaz lacrymogène, c'est armes à feu pour fusiller moun. C'est boule moun. Pas de droit de protestation. Et nous, Jovenel Moïse, à travers donc réseau, laboratoire kidnapping, les installé dans le pays, qui fait tout une paix. Laboratoire kidnapping, ça, il arrive le moment, dans le dernier niveau, ça nous est le premier niveau pic.
While the capital is in chaos, the president is nowhere to be seen. We tracked him down all the way on the other side of the country in Port-au-Prince. He's celebrating Carnival. Port-au-Prince is just 100 miles from Port-au-Prince, but it feels like another world.
So do you know what's happening in Port-au-Prince right now? Violent protests?
Si tout les oppositions, ils mettent le pays à tête en bas. Le pays n'a pas qu'à marcher. Il n'y a pas un pays en souffle. C'est pour messieurs qui leur travail. Mais les gens qui mourent.
Do you still accept Moïse as your president, even though many people in this country say that his mandate ended over a week ago now?
Oui, moi toujours crois que le président pays. Parce que mandat pas fini. Il est là pour 7 février 2022.
Finally, we got to the president himself.
President Moïse, we met a young man named Ronald Dufresne. He was killed on Sunday in the recent protests. And you're here celebrating. Is that the message that you want to send his family right now?
Parce que le carnaval, c'est pas le président Jovenel qui vient faire. Mais le carnaval, c'est une fête nationale. Un président n'a pas une capacité ça pour même si vous bloquez le carnaval en Haïti. Moi-même, comme président, je suis le premier monde qui est là pour protéger la vie, pour protéger la famille, pour protéger tout le monde.
The streets of Port-au-Prince right now, it's filled with protesters and people are being hurt. There's being fires lit in the streets. It's chaos. What are you going to do about the security situation in Haiti right now?
Nous prenons des milliers de manifestations déjà pendant 4 ans. Changement, pas jamais facile. Protestation à parler, c'est normal parce que nous sommes en démocratie. C'est normal parce qu'il y a des gens qui ne sont pas d'accord avec nous. Merci en pile. Joyeux carnaval 2020.
It's been a week since Ronald Dufresne was killed while riding his motorbike through the protests. His family finally found his body after authorities buried him without telling them. They brought him home and managed to borrow $1,000 for the funeral.
On n'avait personne. Elle est tombée dans le sol, regardez-moi, pour Dieu le ciel, elle est tombée dans le sol pour exister. Elle va monter, elle va répondre.
The smell during the service is overwhelming because of everything that's happened to his body.
On va préparer pour ça dans le cimetière, mais Rasta aujourd'hui, la deuxième.
Je fais ça.
Haiti's founding in 1804 was a defining moment in world history. What began as a slave revolt against the French in 1791 led to the creation of the first post-colonial Black Republic, ruled by Jean-Jacques Dessalines. That history hangs heavy over modern Haiti. For many here, it defines their place in the world and their relationship with their big, rich neighbor up north.
C'est politique américaine, non? Non, qui a un problème avec Haïti. Première République noire. C'est politique américaine, non, qui a un problème avec Haïti. Jovenel Moïse au pouvoir, sous contrôle, direction impérialiste américaine, il a attaqué qui sur nous, il a attaqué les vaudous, il a attaqué donc esprit ancêtres nous, et il a craché sous mémoire Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
The US annexed Haiti in 1868 and occupied it in 1915 for 2 decades. More than a century later, it still plays a powerful role in the country's politics.
If you had a message for President Biden, what do you think he can do right now for Haiti?
Pas une question de Joe Biden. Si je fais un message à Joe Biden, c'est comme si je surpassé Joe Biden sur Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Pas une question ça. Joe Biden a mené une politique américaine jusqu'à présent. Joe Biden, démocrate. Donald Trump, républicain. Mais quelle différence politique qui gagne en réalité? Même politique qui a supporté Jovenel.